Hey friends, so we're going to make these really awesome color field sculptures, and I'm going to give you a recommendation before the instructional part of the video where I'm going to talk to you about your color scheme. What I recommend doing is picking two neutral colors or just one plain color to add to your entire background, your entire piece of cardboard. Okay. You should have modeling clay and cardboard. If you don't, message me and I can set some out for you to pick up. Or you can use a cereal box or pick up for the cardboard, and then you can pick up any kind of modeling clay from any craft store or Walmart or Target, or even the dollar store has it a lot of the time. So I'm using just black and gray. It was just a really small amount of both. And I'm going to actually put this on the majority of my background. And this is going to help your modeling clay stick to your cardboard, okay? So I'm ripping off just little pieces and I'm kind of spreading it. It's very satisfying to do this. I'm just spreading the modeling clay all over the cardboard. And you want to make sure that it's just a really thin amount. You really don't need a ton of it. This just gives you a nice little base where the modeling clay likes to stick to other modeling clay. It does not, little pieces of modeling clay does not like to stick to cardboard. But it will stick to this modeling clay base. So I'll show you what this looks like once I'm done adding just this tiny bit to the background. So this is what my cardboard now looks like. It's just got a really thin layer of modeling clay over top. So now when I start to add my pieces here, it's going to stick better. Now in the instructional video you're about to watch, I did not do this, but this is going to make your life so much easier than when Mrs. Savory does it in the next part of the video. And you should have picked a color scheme. The color scheme that I'm going to be using is, can you guess? I have red, purple, and blue. So that's an analogous color scheme. And what I'm doing right now is I'm mixing some of my blue and purple together to create blue violet. And then I'll probably even mix some of my purple and red together to create a red violet. And we're going to be creating a piece of artwork that looks a little bit like Alma Woodsey Thomas's paintings. Now, her paintings, if you looked closely, you probably noticed that her paintings are made up of little tiny brush strokes, all of of different colors. So she had some designs where there were radial designs, right? She has one where it's called the eclipse. There's a circle and then there's designs going around the outside of it. So that would be a radial design, and she centered it off center. So it technically has informal balance too. So either of those answers are correct. And so you need to pick what kind of balance you'd like to create in your drawing. So I think I'm going to create informal balance, and I have an idea in my head. And what I like to do when I get an idea in my head about what my artwork is going to look like is I like to sketch it out. So I want my piece of artwork to look like a mountain. You probably can't see that. There it is. So I want it to look like a mountain, but if I put my piece of cardboard on here, so this is how I want it to be cropped, kind of. I want my mountaintop to kind of be off to the side. And do you see how incredibly simple this design is? There are no details. It's just a simple design. So I'm going to use little bits of clay to create this line for my mountain, and then we'll build from there. So I've got some colors mixed here. Now, if you look closely, like my colors aren't all the way mixed. My blue and my purple, or my yellow, my red and my purple aren't all the way mixed, but that's okay. I actually kind of like it looking like that. So now I'm going to start building my mountain, okay? So I'm going to leave my mountain over here kind of as a reference. And what I want to do is I want to figure out what color I want this first line to be. So I think I'm going to pick purple. And to make the little brush strokes that Alma Woodsey Thomas did, we're not using paint, so we don't have brush strokes, but you're going to roll out some modeling clay. Make sure that you are sitting at the table or any kind of hard surface, a counter, a desk, anything like that'll do. Or you can use like when my kids do this, we just use a cookie sheet because sometimes it's easier to sit on the floor. So just make sure you're doing this on something hard. If you put this on like fabric or something, it's not going to go well. So I'm going to break off just little pieces, little pieces of this. And then I'm going to stick it to my cardboard. And I'm noticing like these lines went up really fast and I didn't mean for that to happen. So I think I'm going to have it come down all the way down here. So I'm just going to adjust my plan just a little bit. So I'm going to put my lines. Just like that. And I'm going to repeat this until I've got that first line all the way done. All right, so I've got my first line here. Now I'm going to put my purple back over near my big purple blob. Now I'm going to pick another color to go next to my purple. So I think I'm going to pick my red violet here. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to roll this out into, my kids always call this a snake. I'm going to make my snake. It's actually called a coil. That's the proper art term for it, but totally looks like a snake or a worm. I'm going to roll it out. And then I'm going to do the same thing. But when I'm putting these pieces on here, do you notice how there is a gap in between my small lines? I'm going to try to put the next row of small lines so that the middle is kind of where that gap is. Does that make sense? So watch again. I'm not going to put it so that it's right next to, oops. I don't want to put it so it's right next to that purple one. I want to kind of scoot it back. And you can kind of smooth it out. Just so we don't have like a bunch of gaps in the same spot. You want to kind of put your little bits, you want to kind of stagger them. All right, so I did my red violet, and I'm going to keep doing this until I fill up the bottom of my mountain here. So go ahead and start working on your own artwork. Start gathering your modeling clay, mixing to make whatever color scheme you'd like, and start creating your design using the kind of balance you've selected. Once you're done, come back to this video, and there's a few other things that I'd like to tell you. So once you're all done, you should have a color scheme created from your modeling clay, and your image should show the kind of balance that you selected in the prior slides. Cool. Another option that you don't have to do if you don't want to, but if you want to, you can get some Mod Podge, which is kind of just like glue that you put over the surface of this, and that will seal it and keep the modeling clay in place. So can't wait to see the color scheme you pick and the type of balance that you choose for your design.